A topic that's been requested from one of my friends was body dysmorphia. If you know me, especially if you know me for a long time, when I was a kid, I was the shortest, scrawniest one out of like the whole class. Like when I was growing up, um, I remember trying to play sports and either not being allowed to play at all or being like picked last when we did team captains. Um, I remember when I used to play ice hockey, getting kind of ragdolled around all the time. Um, I got injured quite a bit, and I could never really make any club teams. I always played rec my whole life. Um, so growing up, I was always compared in a literal sense to my peers based on how I appeared physically. And also, if you know me, I've had acne for quite a bit now. Um, Something I've been working on, but it's not like obviously perfectly crystal clear skin, but I've been working on that. And I want to start by saying, after I kind of started being independent, I started lifting weights, and when I got in there, a lot of people I knew they made fun of my form. They made fun of how how light the weights that I was using was and how much I was struggling with them. And so, in my mind, like my whole life, I had just known like I was at the bottom of the barrel physically. And I think over those years, I developed a belief that that's always what I was going to be. And so when I was getting bigger and bigger, um, that belief kind of stayed. And I would keep telling myself, like, you know, you're small now, but eventually you'll get to a point where you're satisfied and you'll be stronger than everyone else and you'll be fine. Um, so then I started eating a lot. Like if you were friends with me last year in the dining hall, like you've seen me. Um, I eat like a lot, and I would never really see any progress physically. And so I got to a point where I kind of felt like hopeless because I realized that I felt as though none of the work that I was putting in really made a difference. And then over time, uh, as my metabolism kind of slowed down, I started losing my abs, and then I started like getting a lot of face fat. And then I was like, okay, like I wanted to be bigger, and now this is making me look fat or unhealthy. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit, and then it would be kind of just a vicious cycle of seeing myself lose my abs, be like, oh no, I gotta bring that back, and then being like, dang, I'm not making any progress in how heavy the weights I am lifting are, or how much bigger I'm getting, right? So over time, I kind of realized that um, if I kept that mentality, no matter how much longer I worked out, I would never be satisfied. And that was the truth. I think body dysmorphia, you can't overcome it through an external source. You can't overcome it by finally achieving that six pack or finally seeing a different number on the BMI scale or anything like that. I think the change starts from the mind and then kind of carries out outwards overall. After I kind of made that realization that I would never be satisfied with my own body if I kept telling myself these things, um, I started feeling more confident in how I looked already, and it motivated me to want to go to the gym more because I just I just love the journey, um, and I feel like as long as you know that you're doing all you can to work towards that goal to some extent, there's really nothing to shame yourself about. And I think back to when I was a kid, and I tell myself if that version of me saw me now, the way that I'm built, and he said like, "Don't worry," or if I said, "Don't worry, kid, we're gonna win all these games. We're gonna make the club teams and stuff." I think I had a very different perspective, and I feel like if you can tell that to your younger self, why can't you tell yourself that now, right? Why can't you tell yourself like you already are strong, you already are, you already look amazing, you already, you know. I think a lot of the problem comes from being hard on yourself in general, and oftentimes it's very hard to gauge whether you're being too hard on yourself or too complacent. But things like body dysmorphia, you really have to be proud of the work you're doing and realize that there is not necessarily an end goal in fitness. I think that's a lifelong, I think that's a lifelong stretch. And so if it's a lifelong stretch, why would you keep telling yourself, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I suck, right? Because if you keep telling yourself that and you keep telling yourself, when I get to this point, it'll all be over. But when you get to that point, you're kind of like, okay, I can be better than this, which may be true. But it's just a cycle of suffering and being so insecure. And I feel like you can tell yourself a different thing. You can tell yourself, I love the progress I'm making right now. And I'm going to get to that goal eventually. And I'm going to keep getting myself to different goals and still appreciate myself during it. And I think that can be applied in all aspects of life. That's why I believe being physically fit is very important, because when you transform your mind in that way, you can then go into school and be like, I'm not going to tell myself I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough. And maybe if I get a 4.0 this semester, I'll be finally good enough. And that's not the case. I think you're good enough regardless. So you can also say that about like how you raise your kids, right? Would you constantly tell your kids like you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you suck, or would you tell them like, yeah, you're doing good right now, and you're gonna do great things? I feel like you really have to sometimes treat yourself like you're a child. So I understand that, especially now with how common it is to see someone looking like absolutely shredded on social media, or like seeing people on gear, steroids, stuff like that. Seeing people who have more privilege to be fit. It's really easy to get in a bad cycle of comparing your body to someone else's, but realistically, you should just compare you to you. Um, and I think that's the overall, it's like the overall solution to body dysmorphia is being kind to yourself and not externalizing it to look like someone else, or not externalizing it to reach an end goal, but appreciating where you're at while you're in it. Um, so if you got this far in the video, thank you a lot for watching this. This is a topic that I really enjoy. Um, I enjoy all of them, but this one tormented me for a long time in my life. And if I can help any of you guys kind of get over those struggles, that is amazing. Um, I think in the future, I'm going to start posting like the polls on YouTube where you guys can pick the topic for the next day or the next video or whatever. Um, Aside from that, thank you guys so much for the support on these videos. I hope you guys have a good night.